Oh, okay, good. Good.
It's technically his boss, but I can really tell.
Let's get to it. So I like yelling at too long. On the TV. Sit down.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you all for coming. I'm amazed nobody said it's time to start the meeting and be quiet, and everybody just got quiet automatically. So again, I welcome you. It's so wonderful to see the room filled, and we're excited to tell you what's going on at the foundation. I'm going to introduce Michelle Starwalt-Woods, who's going to introduce the young lady who's going to do the anthem for us.
Thank you and welcome. I just wanted to say, I'm sure sometimes when we go to bed in the evening after watching the local news or the world news, or we wake up in the morning and we look at our news feed and we get notifications of some very disturbing things that might be happening in our communities or in our state or around the world. I want to tell you that if you were to read some of the reference letters that we receive at the foundation for our scholarship winners and nominees, they are outstanding. I am proud to welcome one of many scholarships, a recipient of many scholarships this year. And that young lady is Esther Knappenberger, and she is the daughter of Kent and Nanette. And she will be singing our national anthem. Please come forward.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
And we'll continue with the pledge. So much. Thank you so much, Esther. Unbelievable. What a talent. Before I introduce our president, I want to welcome those who are watching on YouTube Live. I don't know, Leslie, if you can tell how many, but we know that some people weren't able to attend and we're going to watch on YouTube, so welcome. With that, I'll pass the mic over to Nancy Adams Fry, our president. Thank you.
Thank you, and welcome to this 37th meeting of the Northern Chautauqua Community Foundation. Welcome to each one of you. The Community Foundation exists because of the support of people like you. 1 year into the campaign for Northern Chautauqua, we look around and we realize that the founders were truly audacious. I didn't know how audacious until just now when I received the very first cash position, 9/30/1987, the expense fund, $16,581, the endowment fund, $309,427.36, and some shares of Maytag stock. I thought it was $600,000. That at least makes me feel a little better. Well, today, because of the strong support of the community, we are flirting with 34,000. We've more than flirted with it in the past, but we go up and we go down a little bit. That audacious act was in spite of the pundits saying that it was a really bad idea, that our community could not support a foundation like this. They didn't listen. During this time of growth, this time of prosperity for the foundation, we've been able to do a great deal. We've been able to support local economic development. We've been able to establish the Capacity Lab, which provides critical resources for nonprofits throughout Chautauqua County. We've been able to respond to urgent needs as they come to our grants committee, and we've been able to give grants to community efforts, urgent needs like COVID relief. Well, equal audacity, we inherited that from the founders. With equal audacity, we decided to start a campaign. Now, campaigns can be military campaigns, they can be building campaigns, they can be political campaigns, and this campaign shares some of the characteristics of those. It shares the courage, the stubbornness, the passion, the loyalty. And what we're doing is building on the cornerstone that those founders began. The this campaign, though, isn't going to have a roof that needs to be replaced in 20 years, or a group of soldiers that need to be buried, or for that matter, a political campaign that we all desperately want to forget about. This campaign's about increasing the community funds and the power of the Community Foundation to do the work that's going on today. We know there are changing needs. Years ago, at the libraries, we needed to invest in internet access. 3 years ago, we needed to invest in COVID relief. All along, we're investing in things like nature park, watershed protection, education, always, the arts, food programs. But now it's time to increase that ability, and so we've set for ourselves a goal of $10 million. This $10 million isn't going to need to be re-roofed, it isn't going to need to be buried, and in fact, it is designed to be perpetual, to be everlasting, to not go away. And why do we do that? Because we want this community to grow and strengthen over time. People have already been investing in the community and in naming funds. Now you can think, well, you know, I'm not a Rockefeller, I'm not a Carnegie, who am I to put my name on a fund? Well, you're exactly the kind of person that started this foundation. Ordinary people, but who have a huge philanthropic vision. And right now, a fund can be started for $3,500. This fund will carry the name you choose to put on it. Or you can choose to invest in a fund that's already named. But this gives the power to the people of Northern Chautauqua to continue to shape and grow our community with the resources that we know it needs. There's another way to plan today for an event that will come to each of us at some point, and that's to join the Bequest Society. You plan your gift now via will, via insurance, via IRA, but please let the NCCF know, because we can celebrate today instead of waiting for that day years to come when we learn of this gift. We can celebrate today, and it'll be a great act of witness for your friends to see. And that, even when you are no longer here physically, you will still be here tangibly. So that's the reason for a $10 million fund. We're making a big dent in it. We're already 24% of the goal. We have named funds, 16 named funds, and we have 16 new Bequest Society members, and we have $2.4 million in contributions. So thank each of you that's already done something like this, and if you haven't already done something like this, please feel completely unleashed to move forward with that. Well, another way besides money is the volunteers. Now the volunteers, many of the volunteers who form our board of directors and our other boards and committees are sitting in this room today, and it's the power of your vision and your hard work that makes this all go and makes it all grow. And so I ask you to notice this board of directors and realize the amount of work that they do, the amount of wisdom they bring. So if you're able and you're on the board of directors, please stand. Two people are retiring from the board, and it's just not going to be the same. And that's Kathy Brinkman, who is the past president of the Community Foundation, and Susan Wells, and I believe they're both here. Susan, you're here too, right? I saw her. Kathy, could you come forward, please? Now, when Kathy came onto the board of directors, she said, I guess people knew I knew how to run a meeting. And that was really true. So thank you for all the work and the vision. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you. Many of the voting members are here too. And now you might think that if it's a once-a-year meeting, it's not very important, but au contraire, don't be fooled by that once a year, because it's the governance of the organization that depends on you and your wisdom. You elect the board, you elect the nominating committee, you elect the voting members, and you approve the auditor selection. So you're there to provide the security for the future of this board, the stability and the security. So if you're a voting member, could you please stand up now? Thank you so much. Well, there's some people retiring from this position, and we're sorry that they are leaving temporarily this work of the foundation. Michael Bobstein, Margie Dye, Deborah Pecos, and John Warren. And Michael, I see Michael is, are Margie and Jay's here. So if you could come up, we didn't want you to forget us.
And I see Susan is hiding at the door.
Oh, Susan.
But she needs to come down too.
You need to come down too.
There you are.
Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you so much.
Really.
Jay, thank you. Thank you. I'd like you to look over the committee volunteers. A great deal of the difficult work, the day-to-day work, the overseeing of different committees is represented here by the members of the different committees, the audit committee, the footprints committee, the grants committee. Tough job looking at making choices between one organization and another. The investment committee, the local economic development committee. You say LED in NCCF, and we do not think lights. We think local economic development. Scholarship, campaign for Northern Chautauqua. Did I say nominating? Investment, if you wonder how, what is it? $309,427.36 can turn into $34 million. You don't need to look further than the gifts of the community and the sage wisdom of the investment committee. Retiring from grants this year are Jill Casey, Ann Ekman, and Rich Ryan, and we're so grateful for them. And the grants committee is throwing a party at the end of the summer, and they haven't let me in on the date yet, but that they're going to be acknowledged. And these, the knowledge of our nonprofits is so key to that work. Well, now I'd like to introduce Rachel, our secretary, and Rachel Foley will move the meeting forward.
Thank you, Nancy. Good afternoon. We're happy to see all of you. As you probably already know, as a voting member, the bylaws require that the notice for the annual meeting be mailed between 10 and 20 days prior to the meeting date. Nancy Mosier has certified that the official notice of this meeting was mailed to all voting members on June 12th of 2023. The Northern Chautauqua Community Foundation has 61 voting members, and the bylaws state that 25% of the total number of members constitutes a quorum. I certify that there are 29 members participating in this afternoon's meeting. Therefore, we have a quorum present. The first item of business is the approval of minutes from the 2022 annual meeting. These minutes were mailed to all of you, all of the members. Are there any corrections or questions on the minutes that were mailed to you? If not, may I have a motion to approve the minutes of the 2022 annual meeting?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Therefore, the minutes have been approved. The next item of business regards our bylaws and amendments being made to the bylaws. We are proposing 3 changes to the bylaws. All voting members received a copy of the recommendations with the official notice. The first bylaw amendment would change Article 1, Section 2.B.3 by adding past president to the list of offices that enable a person whose second board term has expired to continue to serve on the board of directors. Are there any questions on this amendment to the bylaws? If not, may I have a motion to approve the change?
So moved.
May I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstains? Thank you. The next item of business is the second amendment to the bylaws, which would change Article 5, Section 1 by removing the section that allows a board member to hold more than one office concurrently. Are there any questions on this bylaw amendment? May I have a motion to approve the change? Thank you. A second? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. The last amendment to the bylaws would change Article 6, Section 1.A by adding that the president appoints all committee members. Presently, how the committee members are appointed is not addressed in the bylaws. Are there any questions on this amendment? May I have a motion to approve the amendment? Thanks, Danielle. May I have a second? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. I'm now done with this part of the meeting, and I'm going to pass the microphone on to Sylvester Cleary, who is going to talk about the nominating committee's report. There you go, Sylvester.
Thank you. First of all, I just want to say that you are a great-looking group. Why don't you give yourselves a large round of applause? You're just a great-looking group. You know, the work that we do here in NCCF is so important, and it's really nice to see a group of folks like yourselves that's involved, because it's all about our community. And the nominations this year, I am so excited about the nominations. One of the reasons why I'm so excited, being a person that has involved himself with in school situations with students for years, I realize that one of the most important things that we can do as a community civically is to come together with great ideas. And this organization since 1986 has been doing that. And one of the words that sticks in my mind that I got from Rick over here was perpetuity. It just goes on and on. Since 1986, you folks have been doing a great job, and it's just wonderful. So those of you who do not know me, my name is Sylvester Clary, and I'm a member of the nominating committee. This year's nominating committee included myself, Rachel Foley, Josiah Lamb, Kyle Lycum, and Michelle Starwick Woods. Our report was mailed to all voting members earlier this month. In our deliberations, we focused on the demographics of Northern Chautauqua County and the skills and talents needed to support, guide, govern the NCCF successfully. First are the elections for board membership. The committee is proposing for re-election John Hamels and Danielle Marks, each for their second 5-year term. In addition, we are proposing Sandra Lewis for a 5-year term. Are there any nominations from the floor for board membership? Yes.
I would move the recommended individuals, John Hamels, Danielle Marks for re-election, and a real pleasure, honestly, for both of them. But in addition to that, Sandra Lewis, who I've known for over 30 years and is just a fantastic individual, and I'm really happy to be able to nominate her.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right.
Gotta be fast.
Thank you. So it's okay. Can we have a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried. You know, usually more than one person makes a motion, and we just pick the first one. Right? Sarah and Eileen will be listening, and Sarah will be writing the names down. And the newly elected are on separate slides here. For voting membership, we're going to be looking at Christopher Anderson, Kitty Crow, Jennifer McCallick, Jeffrey Pasafaro, and Rachel Willow.
I make a motion to re-elect the individuals you just noted.
Motion has been made. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried. Next one is elected for voting membership, Lori Dultz, Leslie Gomez, Victoria Hall, Syracuse, Jermaine Kenner, Esmar Mercado, and William Stock. Recommended for election each for a 3-year term. Are there any nominations from the floor for voting membership? Well, I doubt if anyone will jump up. So can I have a motion on that?
I'll make the motion.
All right. Can I have a second? All in favor? Any opposed? That motion's carried. Hey, we're moving right along here. Elect for nominating Sylvester Clary, Rachel Foley, Josiah Lamp, Kyle Lickham, and Monica Simpson. Can I have a... Very good. Can I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried. That will conclude my portion. Thank you.
Look over there. They gave me a script. My reputation has preceded me once again. I'm John Hamels. Nobody knows me as that. I'm Doc Hamels. Only my family knows me as John. I'm pleased to present today the audit report. I've been on the board of directors, I don't know, 5 years, I guess. I've been a voting member before that. And it's been an honor and a privilege to serve as your treasurer this past year. Also, it's been an honor and privilege to be up at 7:30 in the morning, once a month on Zoom to meet with all of you on the little screen. They didn't tell me that we had monthly meetings at 7:30 in the morning. All right. Yes, and they also said, make this exciting. The audit report. All right. Thanks, Sylvester, for not nominating me for anything other than the award, and I'm pleased to be able to do that once again. Okay, I want to point out this is the 2022 audit report, so we're looking backwards in time. Let me get my glasses, I don't trust myself. The 2022 audit was conducted by Saxton, Coker & Associates. As we have every year, we receive a clean and unqualified opinion. This indicates that the financial records we provided were free of misrepresentations and were in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. If you would like to receive a full copy of the report, they are available in the lobby, in the sign-in desk. Light reading, you'll enjoy it. I encourage all of you to get a copy. Okay, next slide. There we go. All right, as you can see, we ended 2022 with assets totaling $32,783,815. This is the decrease from 2021, the moment I became treasurer, and result of 2022's downturn in the financial market. It's true. The day I turn on, anyways, things got better because now I'm not going to be treasurer. I didn't tell you that, did I, Dave? So as we know, the stock market was doing crazy things, and of course, when you have gobs of money all over the place in investments, that does happen. Okay, the next one is statements of financial position and liabilities. The agency and pass-through funds are considered liabilities. Total liabilities are down approximately $500,000. Statement of financial position and net assets. The highlighted section lists the values of the various types of funds that we hold: community, designated, donor advised, and scholarship. Community funds, highlighted in orange, are the most impactful and the focus of our Today, Tomorrow, Together campaign, which Nancy Adams-Frye talked about earlier in the presentation. You know, as treasurer, you think you could just walk into the office and say, I'd like to see the money. There's no money really to see. It's all wrapped up in all kinds of investments. And that's the most important thing that I think that you should have a takeaway today is that your money's safe, it's growing. Yeah, it goes up and down with the stock market and so forth, but it's growing. What was that number again we started with, Nancy?
Oh, wait, 600,
$600,000 or something?
Less than 600,000.
Yeah, I mean, wow. So right now, I think we sit at like $35 million or something like that. So that's incredible. Okay, so I have a little business to deal with you here. The foundation's bylaws require that the voting membership, those that are here today, confirm the auditors each year. Would a member please make a motion confirming this reappointment of Saxton, Coker & Associates as the foundation's auditor for 2023? And may I have a second? Okay, thank you. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? My job is done here. And now I'd like to turn the microphone back to Rachel, who's going to talk to you about
Money.
Thank you. Thank you, Doug. Good afternoon again. In addition to serving as the secretary of the board, I also chair the investment committee. So I just want to give you a highlights of our 2022 performance. As you all know, if you look at your own 401k statements, we all experienced a decline in the financial markets in 2022. And the same occurred with Northern Chautauqua Community Foundation's portfolio. It did decline, but we did outperform our index by 1.3%, so we were pleased with that result. By carefully adhering to our investment and spending policy, by minimizing our fees and expenses and focusing on low-cost, passive, long-term investments, our performance has consistently exceeded that of our peers. Professional investment consultants inform and guide our investment decisions. The firm Courier Capital has been serving in this capacity since 2013. Investment performance for us over time is more important than any one-year return. Our 10-year annualized return is 7.1%. And because of that, we are able to award impactful grants today, increase our purchasing power, support our operations, make adjustments for inflation, and most importantly, ensure that our impact continues in perpetuity. This next slide shows the benefit of adhering to a sound investment policy and the power of an endowment that you can set up. Keep in mind that this is a general example and not a guarantee in any way. You may start an endowment fund with $10,000, and over a 10-year period, that amount will grow to $13,000, and $4,300 will be granted. If you go out 50 years, your gift will grow to $39,600, and we will have granted that full amount of $39,600. So this illustrates the importance of your involvement in our community. Are there any questions on my report? I can't see you without my glasses on. Are there any questions? All right, I'm going to turn it over to Diane Hannum, our Executive Director, and she'll share the highlights of 2022 with you. And by the way, Sylvester, it is a very good group, but I want to point out that most of those in the front row came from out of state, so you need to introduce yourself. So I think that's impressive.
Okay, before I get started, I'm going to ask Leslie if you could go back maybe 3 slides. I wanted to report, there you go, stop right there. As of Friday, this past Friday, June 23rd, I wanted to let you know that the portfolio had increased by more than 6%, up to just over $34 million. So much better news than December 31st, 2022. So I just wanted to make sure you're aware of that. Thank you. So I'm charged with giving you just a few of 2022 highlights. And I've got to start out by saying we wouldn't have any highlights if it wasn't for the NCCF staff. Our staff is incredible in so many ways. I have the privilege of working with the kindest people and the people who very often quite modestly are out there supporting the community in ways you wouldn't even imagine. So I would like to acknowledge each of them. If you could stand, Eileen, I see back there. Patty, there's Patty Hammond, Noah Goodling, who is our Capacity Lab Director, Sarah Marsowitz, our accountant taking notes today, Nancy Mosier, I bet she's hiding. Is she in here? No, Nancy's in the lobby. Michelle Starwalt-Woods, who you met at the beginning, our scholarship coordinator, and of course, Leslie Willie, who is our community engagement coordinator. Thank you. Okay, just a reminder of what our vision is. It's so simple and so straightforward. Our vision is a community in which everybody can prosper, everybody, and prosper in all sorts of ways, economically, socially, to have a healthy arts community, to have strong health care, all those things. We want everybody in the community to prosper. That is our vision. And as always, we do that by focusing on local philanthropy, strategic grant making, and collaborations and partnerships. So again, just to reiterate, our vision, a community where everyone prospers. Okay, these are some figures from 2022. Hopefully you can read them from the back. What I find telling is, okay, the first row, second one down, 1,028 donations. That's a lot. That's a lot of individuals from the community and from outside the community coming to the Community Foundation and making a contribution. Our contributions range anywhere from about $10 to a bequest that could be a couple $100,000, sometimes more. Last year, we granted about $1.3 million, included in that were our scholarships, $311,000 to 299 scholarship awards. Michelle, does that sound about right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. This is scholarship season, and it's amazing. Michelle working nonstop and everybody supporting her. But scholarships are a big deal. We just had some graduations, so that's a great thing. Contributions, just over 1.4 million, 447 individual funds, and 16 new funds. And that's a figure we hope next year will be a lot higher as we continue to promote the establishment of community funds. As Nancy mentioned, we've lowered the minimum to $3,500, and families, individuals can build that over a number of years. You can make a pledge. So it's really doable for many families and many others. So I guess we'll go on to the next one. I wanted to highlight just a few of our grants. This is what I would call our traditional grants that are awarded through our community grants program. I see some of our grants committee members and former in the audience, and you know how difficult it is to go through all these applications and discuss them. The committee puts in so much time and so much discussion, and yet they always leave friends. So, and come back for more meetings. So I wanted to highlight Westfield Memorial Hospital Foundation, a wonderful organization or wonderful healthcare facility that's been serving our community, and that's just so important to our community. We gave them funding for parallel bars for physical therapy. And another one through that program last year was a document supporting this documentary film on Midway. This has been shown on PBS, I believe. You got a nice little picture. I know many people have fond memories of Midway, and we helped fund that project. Final one I want to highlight is American Red Cross, helping with emergency and recovery efforts. That's good. So, when you look at our slogan for the campaign, today, tomorrow, together, these collaborations and partnerships are really the together of that slogan, along with the individuals that support the foundation. Partnerships and collaborations, our involvement has grown so much, really, since right before COVID, and COVID really forced us to work more and more with other organizations, and we've been very pleased with the relationships we've been established. The Capacity Lab, I think we're going on maybe 2 years, Noah?
A year and a half.
A year and a half that we've been up and running. This is a project that started before COVID when local foundations got together throughout the county nonprofits need some assistance. They need help, let's say, with boardsmanship training, with grant writing, with all those little things that are important, but a lot of times get put on the back burner. Another thing that became obvious was that in the field, there weren't enough professionals kind of moving up the ranks. There was no pipeline for new executive directors. So that was one of the other reasons that we started this initiative. Something I'll be talking about later is leverage and how our funds often attract other funds. So pulling money among the foundations, and let me tell you who the partners are. Northern Chautauqua Community Foundation, Chautauqua Region Community Foundation, United Way of Southern Chautauqua County, United Way of Northern Chautauqua County, and the Sheldon Foundation. So it's these 5 groups that have been working to promote the Capacity Lab. I would hope that most of the nonprofits in the room, or those that maybe are on boards, had had a chance to meet Noah, who's back there in the corner. He is a wealth of knowledge and interested in connecting nonprofits and boards to resources. We were able to receive a grant from the Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Community Foundation, in the amount of $750,000. That's a lot of money, and money we're not used to having in this community, quite frankly. So we have $250,000 a year, plus what the local foundations have contributed. We have these resources. We want to help nonprofits in the area. Noah can talk more. If anybody is interested, he'd love to talk with you and see what your needs are. How's that, Noah? Okay.
Sounds good.
Great. Thank you. Another partnership collaboration that we've been very active in is the IDEA Coalition. This, I want to say we've been going about a year and a half, and the goal is to make Chautauqua County a place where everyone belongs and have opportunities to thrive, especially those that have been historically marginalized. This is being led by the United Way of Southern Chautauqua County, and really is bringing together a lot of organizations, mostly nonprofits, who have made a pledge to adopt and to make a commitment to issues around diversity, equity, inclusion, and access. We have had 4 town hall meetings. Sandra is in the room, isn't she? Sandra's been working as the liaison in Dunkirk. We've had 2 town hall meetings in Dunkirk, one focusing on the African American population and one on the Latino population, and we've had the same in Jamestown. From those meetings, we've collected data. We talked about needs and where you'd like to see your community and those types of things. And that gets to the circle that you see up here. So we started with listening sessions, and those were the town hall meetings. And then we went through and prioritized and clarified, had more meetings to, again, say, okay, this is what you told us, this is what you meant, or is there overlap here? So that was step 2. Now we are in step 3. You can see the arrow 6/12/23, where we are identifying solutions. And the idea is that we'll continue to go around this circle, selecting 1 or 2 issues, working to solve it, and then starting all over again and listening. If anybody is interested in learning more about that, please let me know. It is a great coalition and really has great promise to make a difference in our community. The last collaboration I'll talk about is the LED Committee, which has just done incredible things in our communities since about 2012. I see a lot of people in the room who have been active in that. The LED is a catalyst, convener, coalition builder, committed to building and sustaining economic well-being in Chautauqua County. I think we could talk a long, long time about this. I'm sure Rick Johnson would have, and Jay Warren would both have a whole lot to say. We've invested, the foundation has invested quite a bit of our discretionary, our community funds to this effort. At least $600,000 over the past 6 or 7 years. When you combine our contributions to CCPEG and just our general grants for economic development, it's significant. We've been awarding $100,000 a year to the Chautauqua County Partnership for Economic Growth. That is a group that is led by Nate Aldridge, who was going to be here, but I don't think he made it. He is a voting member as well. If you're not familiar with the partnership, we have some information out in the lobby. They've been going 2 or 3 years. And our partnership with them goes beyond the $100,000 a year. The LED committee's members also serve on work groups for the partnership. So we're working together to fund not just the partnership, but to fund projects in northern Chautauqua County that will help build the economy. There's a lot more that I could say. Doug Manley, who most of us knew, former footprint recipient and really one of the founders of the Community Foundation, he set aside some money before he passed that the LED is working to direct to economic development projects in northern Chautauqua County. Okay, I think next up is Leslie, and she's really got some neat things to talk about, I think. So, thank you, Leslie.
I do. I get the really fun part. I'm Leslie Willey. I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator, and I just wanted to share a few things with you that have happened over the past year and that we have coming up. So the first is Give Big CHQ. Give Big CHQ was in its 6th year this year. This is something that we work very closely with Chautauqua Region Community Foundation on. If you're not familiar, it is a 24-hour online giving day and just really brings the whole community together in a wonderful way. You can see this year, this event raised $328,934 from 2,354 individual donors for 125 nonprofit organizations across Chautauqua County. I don't know about you, but I personally think that's pretty incredible. I'm really proud of that, and I'm so happy that we get to be a part of that. Before Give Big CHQ happened this year, we sent a survey out to all the nonprofit organizations in Chautauqua County. We had a really great response from that, and a lot of the responses were just filled with gratitude that we provide this platform for them. And one of the things we asked in that survey was what they'd like to see, what kind of incentives and bonuses they would like to see, and how we could improve that day. So you can see up here some of the things that we did. These were all sponsored by NCCF and CRCF. There was a $30,000 stretch pool available to the organizations that participated, and they qualified for a portion of those dollars by just having 10 unique individual online donors within a set 12-hour period. We had a $2,000 Rise and Shine bonus. That was an incentive for donors to give early in the day. Somewhere in the middle of the afternoon, we had a $2,000 double up match, and that was to double donations that were coming in during that hour until that $2,000 was exhausted. And then there was the $1,000 night owl bonus. And again, that was just to incentivize donations later in the evening towards the end of the day. So that's Give Big. Stay tuned for it. Next year, this just happened early June. This is something I am super excited about. So coming on the heels of Give Big CHQ is Give 716. This is another online giving day. This one is hosted by the Buffalo Bills and Buffalo Sabres Foundations and actually covers multiple counties throughout Western New York. So this is a regional giving day. This is something that NCCF, rather than hosting, we are participating in this one. So please save the date, mark it in your calendars. It begins on July 16th at 7:16 p.m. I don't know if you're seeing the theme here. It ends on Tuesday, July 18th at 7:16 a.m. There's a lot of fun surrounding this, a lot of excitement. If you stay tuned to your inbox, watch for our newsletter. We'll be sharing some more information about that soon. There's a lot of opportunities to really maximize your donation with matching opportunities from sponsors. And prizes, thank you. And every dollar that we raise through Give 716 this year will be added to our community funds. You've heard everyone here mention those today. Those are those really powerful, really flexible, really impactful funds at the Community Foundation. And the last thing I want to share with you is something I think we are all super excited about. We've been given an opportunity in conjunction with the campaign that you heard about today for this video project, and it's called My NCCF Story. All of you should have information on that at your seat. That is a little training guide. It kind of walks you through the steps of how to use this Storyvine guided video that we've been gifted the opportunity to use. They have donated the use of this platform to us. What we're really looking for, and I invite every single one of you in this room to participate because you're here because you have a connection with the foundation. You're here because the foundation has touched your life in one way or another. And we are looking to share those stories with the community. We'll be doing that through our newsletters, on our website, on our social media, as many different avenues as we can think of. One of our goals through this campaign is not just to increase the endowment, but also to increase awareness in the community in general of who we are, what we do, and why we're doing it, and why it's important. So you can help us very simply by sharing your story. It's very easy to do. It takes a few minutes. The Storyvine guided video app really walks you through step by step. And if you're nervous at all about using the technology, or if you feel like you don't want to self-produce that, we've actually set up a little station down the hall. Rich Ryan is down there, I think, waiting for people right now. I don't see him in this room. And he is ready to film that for you right here tonight after this meeting. It will only take about 3 minutes of your time, so please, please take the time to share your story with us so we can share it with the community. Thank you.
There is one person we have not acknowledged whose work and whose leadership is simply extraordinary. She's known, even if the Community Foundation is not known, everyone knows Diane Hannum. Her leadership, we're so grateful for. Is there any new business? Seeing that there is no new business, is there a motion to adjourn? The motion to adjourn needs no second. All in favor? Please say aye. I believe there is some important work left. There are a number of people here today who are past recipients of the Footprints Award, and their work is extraordinary. I don't think it was Peter Clark's suggestion that we use kazoos or that we wear antlers at Christmas events that got the award for Footprints Award for him. It was more likely his leadership at with with different organizations with the veterans, with the library, with the historical museum in Fredonia, but he can correct me later. I know he will. Some other people have worked very hard along the lakeshore, the Lake Erie Lakeshore, the Lake Chautauqua Lakeshore. Other people have worked at the library in Dunkirk, worked at the library in Fredonia, in Cassadaga. Other people have worked with the Chamber Orchestra, League of Women Voters, the Resource Center. Other people have made wonderful music and led dance. Other people have been extraordinary leaders with the fire department or the hospitals, the Camp Grows, the university, the literacy volunteers, Boys and Girl Scouts. This is a deeply important award to the Northern Chautauqua Community Foundation. It is a meeting that is lively. It is also a meeting that's wonderful because the leadership is raised up and discussed there with great, great fervor. When a person is nominated for the Footprints Award, it isn't simply the work they're doing, and it isn't simply the bridges they're building, it's also their philanthropic efforts. Many people are quietly philanthropic. In fact, our candidate today for the Footprints Award has been both anonymously philanthropic and publicly philanthropic. He also has big footprints to follow. And I would like to ask Dan Reinica to come forward. We are so happy to let you know that we're a Footprints Award winner. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, everybody. It's really, truly an honor to receive this award today. And just a little bit of history on the award. My father was part of a group, the founding board of directors that received this award. I believe it was in 2006, if I have the right date. George Weaver, 2002, his namesake for this award. Just a great man. And if you look in here inside cover, you'll see George and I. I'm the poster child for the campaign this year. So I'll autograph these after the event's over with. And then also I'm very, very encouraged because talking to Uncle Ricky Johnson and Jay Warren, they yield their time to me. So I have plenty of hours to speak now. So it's just a pleasure to be able to take your time, Uncle Ricky. I know that's almost. So anyhow, community activities. It's all about giving. It's all about what you can do. It's what you can get involved with, whether it's in front of the scenes, behind the scenes. And really it's sustaining operations, opportunities, those kinds of things. And it takes a community to raise a child. I'm the child. You guys are the community. You've done a great job with all your efforts, various fundraising efforts, and contributing to Northern Chautauqua County and the Community Foundation specifically. As far as the Community Foundation is concerned, again, $3,500. You can name your own fund. That can be done through a pledge of over 5 years if you want to. So it's really a great opportunity, again, to name a fund after your family that will pay into perpetuity. It's a great way to recognize that. So I'm getting a little nostril. Try not to do that. My kids are all looking at me like, what? So a little bit about George Weaver. Just a great guy. I met George probably in 1974. My twin brother David and I did. And by the way, if you noticed our hairlines here, you can tell we're twins. Let me just go down here. Yeah. So Dave and I'm the oldest, so I have more hair than he has. But he sees a stylist down in Dallas and gets it done. So anyhow. So George Weaver, just a great guy. And George, my brother and I met probably 1974, maybe early 1975. And George was a pilot in World War II. And George had ordered this beautiful airplane that came into Dunkirk through Dunkirk Aviation. 1975, it was a Cessna 310R, which is a twin-engine plane. At that time, It was listed in the cover of Flying Magazine, the exact plane. It was serial number 1. And that summer, George knew that my brother and I were interested in flying. Sorry. And we were studying for our pilot's license. And George said, "Come on, kids, I'll take you to breakfast." We got on the plane, and we flew to Leroy, New York, landed. Back then, it was probably a $350 breakfast instead of $1,000, $1,200 breakfast today. Anyway, landed in Leroy, got out of the airplane. He put the Flying Magazine in the front windshield of the plane, and we looked down. We're like, "Whoa, this is really special here." Absolutely spectacular. So that was my first interaction with George, and it's truly an honor to receive the Footprint Award. Excuse me, I'm getting choked up. His namesake. So things like that, again, don't happen without community involvement and lots of other people. I'd like to introduce a few people that are here from out of town, the front row, to a certain degree. I'll start over here and embarrass my son Mark and his wife Rachel. Please stand, wave at the crowd. Just go like this as you're walking by. From Los Angeles. My son Alex, also from Los Angeles. My mother-in-law, Mary Ann Payne, Wendy's mother. You can go like this if you want to. Parker, also from LA, so they're all here. We have another event this week that's ongoing. I'm going to skip somebody right here. My twin brother, David, and his wife, Kathy. And then, as we affectionately say this, our chosen daughter, Yulia Kabak Taranovich, and her husband, Sasha Taranovich. Yeah, they actually, Yulia came to us through Belarus's Children of Chernobyl, and when she was 8 years old, it was a Rotary program. She has since become a U.S. citizen. Lives in Cleveland, Ohio, and married the love of her life, Sasha, who's also from their small community in Belarus, Soren. So both U.S. citizens and here. And then the oldest next generation, Daniel Geiger, my grandson, and my son-in-law, Jonathan Geiger. Now's when I get the waterworks going, because this is the family that makes things possible and recognizes community service as well, where they live and work. And their different levels of involvement are also meaningful to the communities that they, again, live and work in. But none of it would happen if we didn't have support, inspiration, love of Wendy, my sweet wife. Thank you, Wendy. There were many, many nights when she would be, "Where are you going?" And I'd be saying another community meeting, some other activity, things like that. So just out and about regularly. So also I'd like to thank the board of directors, the staff at the Northern Chautauqua Community Foundation, just absolutely awesome. Thank you so much for this award. It's very meaningful to me, my family, and we thank you so much for it. I gotta check my notes now.
Dan, that was beautiful. Congratulations, very well deserved. I absolutely love that you introduced your entire family here. We spoke to a lot of people who are pretty close to you, and every single one of them mentioned the importance of your family. So with that said, we have a video we'd like to share. Now's the time to get the Kleenex out, yes.
There's so many fine attributes about Dan, but one that readily comes to mind is generous.
Leadership.
Thoughtful. Enthusiastic. It's got to be one.
Faithful is a good way to explain him. Faithful to his family, faithful to his beliefs in God, faithful to his community.
Honest. Very honest.
Welcoming.
Very bright and articulate.
Empathetic.
Kind. Thoughtful.
Very open.
Genuine. Family.
My dad has this saying when when he's with us as a group, PMA, PMA, and okay, Dad. So everybody's like, what is PMA? Positive mental attitude.
How does Dan inspire me? I think Dan typifies everything that's good about a community volunteer. Dan follows in the footsteps not only George Weaver, but his parents, Betty Ann and Pete Reinicke, were tremendous community volunteers. Dan's the same. Dan never says no to anybody. He's been tremendously involved not only in this community, but throughout Chautauqua County, and in Buffalo and West New York as well.
Dan is probably one of the most positive people you'd ever want to meet. He always looks at the glass half full, and he has inspired me to do the same each and every day.
What I admire most about Dan is his human qualities. He's a very generous and kind person. Treats people with all kinds of due respect and kindness. And I think that's what inspires me the most, is how he treats people.
Dan's just such a great leader. He was a great leader at the bank. He was someone that you could always, talk to, even though he was president and CEO. He was very engaged to the staff and very open to communicate with. Dan's philanthropy over the years too has been, second to none, especially in this area. His ties to the community go deep generationally, and his commitment to his family too. That's always been a priority number one for him, and that's something that I've always, thought of when I patterned my own family.
I've always been a daddy's girl, and so growing up, he was really influential in just helping me to have my focus in the right place. I think that's the biggest thing. So he inspired me to really make sure that I was chasing my dreams.
It's just the fact that he was always so nice to everybody, and it just made me want to be more kind, more welcoming, and that was a really good example for me, especially because I grew up in a country that is very conservative and they're not as open like that, so that was a huge thing for me to see a different way of communicating, just approaching people. And I still, to this day, admire that the most, of how just open he is to everybody.
It's not just that he had the opportunity to put financial resources behind something that he was committed to or felt strongly about. He believes in what he's doing, and he feels a real sense of gratification for the lives that he's changed. Yeah. I mean, how do you not want to follow in those footsteps?
There have been so many contributions that Dan has made to our community, and I've been lucky enough to not only be a good friend, but to have worked with him professionally. And it was always very comforting knowing that I could go to him on behalf of the Westfield Memorial Hospital Foundation and be able to count on his support. And he's been very generous over the years, and he clearly understands the importance of having high-quality health care in our community.
Big thing that he did is he joined the board at Lakeshore Savings and Loan. And at the time, he was the youngest director to ever be elected to the board of the bank, and the bank had been around for a long, long time. And under Dan's leadership, he completed what Dave Mancuso started, transforming Lakeshore Savings and Loan from a very small town S&L with 2 branches, one in Dunkirk and one in Fredonia, to a full-service community bank.
He not only involves himself, but he has tentacles. He has outreach that goes to his friends in the community, other business associates in the community, and other charities in the community, really, that he reaches out to and brings. It's like Moses. He brings everybody together.
I think he just really encourages people to, again, chase their dreams. And I think also he's really good about recognizing those who should be recognized, and supporting those who need to be supported.
Welcoming a random kid out of nowhere into their home and accepting, me into the family and treating me like a daughter always, and just always supporting me and providing any guidance that I ever need.
It's a combination of things. And again, he's a very smart individual, smart businessman, very involved in the community, has committed a lot of time and effort and dedication to the community. Those human traits, which I think is his greatest asset.
Definitely in the community in the city of Dunkirk. He's done great things for the city with his development, with his support, with his philanthropy. It's definitely made an impact on people's lives in the community of Dunkirk and Fredonia as well too.
His philanthropy has been felt a lot through the community, but I would say probably with Mikey's Way. I think that's probably something that is just really near and dear to his heart.
One of the things that I think people would be happy to learn about is the fact that he's climbed the highest mountain peaks in the U.S. and in Africa with each of his 3 sons, and hopes to do that one day with his daughter.
That he's very good with a chainsaw.
I think it would surprise a lot of people how deeply he's committed. It's one thing to, yeah, we're going to get behind this, and then you write a check or you do a fundraiser or whatever, but it's a whole nother ballgame to be physically rolling up your sleeves and help dig the ditch, and that's Dan.
So I think people will be very pleasantly surprised to know that my dad is very outdoorsy. Most of the time he's in a business suit and he's working hard, and that's what you see a lot. But his favorite place in the world is our cabin up in Canada, and if he could live there, he would.
Dan has always had a strong interest in flying airplanes. The other piece is Dan's a great cook.
Impactful, if I was going to use a word.
It's one of graciousness.
I mean, Dan's legacy, I would say, would be his work in the community, his work as working with not-for-profits and supporting people in this area, and I would say his biggest legacy would be his family, his kids and his grandkids.
I think the legacy that Dan's leaving behind is a lot like George Weaver's. He's been involved every place. He's been a very significant financial donor, and he's made a big impact on everything he's done.
Oh, that's one of the words that I really think describes my dad well, is legacy, and a really great job well done in the family legacy, and the community legacy, in the work ethic in our family business and in the bank, and yeah, he's wonderful. He gets it right. He sees the bigger picture. He sees he sees how important family is, and I think that he sees the importance of a person, and that all people are important.
To me, I feel like he's still building, and he's still going to be doing so much more. And now it's interesting because we were talking about when he retired, we're like, oh, you're going to slow down, relax. And he started talking to me about all those plans, and I'm like, oh, no, that's not happening, which is amazing. Like, he has that motivation, that energy to do more. And with already so much that he has done, there's more.
It's interesting, and going back to his parents, as I mentioned, I've known Pete and Betty Ann before I knew the boys. And I saw their generosity and concern for other people from Pete and Betty Ann. And that's just carried down to Dan and David, and of course with David's wife Kathy, and of course Dan's wife Wendy, right down to the children. They understand the importance of helping people and providing that encouragement and assistance.
He's just great. He's great as a person. He's great as a dad. He's great in everything he does. He puts all his heart into, and he makes it look so easy. And yeah, he's a really good example in my life for sure.
Just that Dan always had 3 things he would say after he would come back from climbing a mountain or a summit. Your attitude determines your altitude. It would be an all-day pace, and respect is gained when composure is maintained.
You know, I'm 67 years old, and I've learned one thing. When you're talking about accomplishments in life, I would rather they talk about how I touched people rather than how big my bank account was. And you certainly could say that about Dan. It doesn't matter. It's the people he touched and the people that he continues to touch.
I mean, since my brothers can't be here and my sister, you know, I think if they were here, we would all say, you know, thank you. He's been a huge blessing to all of us. And there's just so many great memories and things that he's enabled us to be able to do in our life. And the older I get, the more I realize just how important it is to have a dad, or parents really, who support you. And he's been very instrumental in that.
I can't think of anybody that's more deserving of this award than Dan Reiniger.
Not sure if this one's on, but I know you can.
I just want to say thank you to the Community Foundation for this wonderful video and reaching out to the family. It's just amazing. It really brings it home to me and set a few things straight too. So about the woodcutting thing, you want to, my son Parker took a woodcutting video that was probably could have been the end of my life, literally. And I was cutting a widowmaker, and the piece of wood slipped and threw me down a hill 20 feet. And I survived and came up with a smile, as I do anytime something goes wrong. But Parker put it on TikTok, and it had 1.7 million views so far. So social media experts here, they know how to make it happen. And then another quick fact, Andy Dorn was on the board of Lake Shore, and when he left to start another bank, he said, you should get this kid on the board, and I was the kid. So I regularly thanked Andy, and I cursed him as well many times as I was involved in the bank. So just a few other fun facts. But again, thank you everybody for being here. It's awesome. It's great to celebrate with you all, and just appreciate each and every one of you across the board. Thank you.
Just incredible, Dan. So thank you, and bringing your family is fantastic. So before we wrap up, Leslie, we have a room set up to do your videos. Really easy, and if you don't like it, you can delete it. I've deleted 2 of mine so far. And there's a reception out in the hallway, so please enjoy, and I can't thank you enough for coming. Thank you, everybody.
Check it out.